The earlier you brake, the more shit hot it is. And if you brake after the round down, it doesn't even count.
Yes.
If you brake before the round down, then it's probably stupid. But if you can do it, then you've had the most shit hot brake of all.
Hey folks, it's August 1990 and General Norman Schwarzkopf has arrived aboard the USS Independence. The Stingers are on cruise with Tomcat Squadron VF-21 Freelancers. VF-21 is commanded by CJ Heatley. Heater is the legendary Top Gun instructor and author of the greatest book ever made, The Cutting Edge. The creators of the Top Gun movie credit Heater's photos as the inspiration for the film. He also filmed much of the aerial footage and acted in the movie. Heater is my absolute hero, and I feel incredibly fortunate to call him a friend. He has 1,124 aircraft carrier landings, and he's kindly agreed to answer all my questions about F-14 TOMCAT carrier ops. If you want to hear Heater talk about other subjects, I've put links in the description below to fantastic interviews with Taco Bell, Jello, and Ward Carroll. Next up is a 4-minute overview of the F-14 cockpit so you can better understand the conversation. If you want to skip right to Heater, go to this time code. And this is how Heater welcomed General Schwarzkopf aboard the USS Independence, a supersonic flyby at 66 feet. Now let's take a closer look at the controls for a wing sweep, landing configuration, speed brake, and direct lift control, or DLC. Listed right are the controls as they appear in DCS F-14 TOMCAT.
Sharp, brake right, base 4 o'clock. Copy, brake right. Flanker, 12 o'clock, 1 mile.
The swing wings of the F-14 are automatically positioned to the optimum sweep angle for maximum maneuvering performance.
Come on, baby, lock up. Good tone, lock 2. Flash 1, flanker.
In auto mode, the F-14 Central Air Data Computer positions the wings primarily as a function of Mach number, but includes pressure altitude biasing.
500 knots. 550.
Normal control of the wing sweep modes is by this switch on the throttle. Manual wing sweep mode is commanded by selecting aft or forward from the neutral position of the wing sweep switch. The switch is spring-loaded to return to the center position. After moving the switch up to reselect auto, the switch can be moved back to the center position without changing the command mode. Selecting bomb mode retracts maneuver flaps and drives the wings to 55 degrees to provide a more stable platform for dropping bombs. Wing oversweep mode allows sweeping the wings aft of 68 degrees to 75 degrees during flight deck operations. At 75 degrees, the wing trailing edge is over the horizontal tail surface. Therefore, stabilizer movement must be restricted. Drive the wings to 68 using manual aft and open the plastic cover. Raise the emergency wing sweep handle to its full extension and hold. Raising the handle releases air pressure from the wing seal airbags and activates the horizontal tail authority system. During motion of the horizontal stabilizers, the horizontal tail authority caution light is illuminated. When complete, the light will go out and the over flag on the wing sweep indicator will be visible. Move the handle to oversweep and stow. The wings will now move to 75 degrees oversweep. To land a Tomcat on the aircraft carrier, you must first lower the tailhook, extend the landing gear, and lower the flaps. The position indicator for gear, flaps, slats and speed brake is above the gear handle. F-14s fly their approach with open speed brakes. The speed brake switch is on the throttle above the wing sweep switch. Holding the switch aft extends the boards. When released, the switch returns to the center hold position. Switching forward will retract the boards. During landing approach, the inboard spoilers and horizontal stabilizers can be controlled simultaneously to provide vertical glide path correction without changing engine power setting. This is called Direct Lift Control, or DLC. With flaps down, DLC is engaged with the control stick DLC switch and commanded by the thumb wheel. The thumb wheel is spring-loaded to a neutral position. Upon engagement of the DLC, inboard spoilers extend to 17.5 degrees above flush, and the trailing edges of the horizontal stabilizers move 3 degrees down from their trim position. If you're high on glide path, rotating the thumb wheel fully forward extends inboard spoilers to 55 degrees and increases rate of descent. If you get too low, rotate the thumb wheel fully aft. The spoilers retract and the stabilizers return to their trim position. This decreases rate of descent. In this cockpit footage, you can see how a real Tomcat pilot uses the DLC thumb wheel during approach. Advancing the throttles to mil power will automatically disengage DLC and retract the speed brake. F-14 angle of attack is displayed by the indexer and on a vertical tape indicator from 0 to 30 units. Rate of descent is measured on the vertical speed indicator. The on-speed landing AOA of 15 units is marked by the approach reference bar.
201, Tomcat ball, 4.5.
The carrier approach scan is meatball, lineup, and angle of attack. Hello, I'm Jar and I'm over the moon because I'm here with my childhood hero, Heater. I can't believe it. Thank you, sir, for catching up with me today. And I run a nerdy online flight sim squadron called the Stingers, and we do carrier landings. And,
The Stinger's like the F-18 squadron?
yeah.
Yeah, they cruise with me.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, I had a couple of carrier questions for the guys, because when we were landing the F-14 on the aircraft carrier in DCS World. So I just, I'm nervous as hell. I'll just ask a few.
Well, I've only had 1,124 landings, so I'm not sure I can tell you anything.
Okay, so when you come back to the ship, how are you navigating back to the carrier? Is it primarily TACAN? These are all very, very basic flight simulator guy questions. But say you're out on the mission and then you want to go find the ship, and I guess you have a time to be back above Mother.
Right, and if you're not worried about the enemy knowing where you are, the TACAN might be on, but the TACAN's not on most of the time. Most of the time you're in MCON, so you either have to use INS or GPS or some other kind of nav system because you don't want the carrier emanating, and that's why we don't talk on the radios either.
All right.
Yeah. So, but we've all done TACAN approaches, and once the bombers find us, it's like no big deal. The TACAN comes back on.
Oh, okay. So when you get back to the stack house, each squadron or flight had their own predetermined. Actually, is this getting into classified-y type stuff?
No.
I don't want to say anything that's not supposed to be.
No, everybody has a different altitude that they're orbiting above the ship while 30 airplanes are taking off.
Yeah.
So there's a launch to make room for you to land, and that's how it works all day long. That there's a launch, and then everybody's orbiting in left-hand turns over the ship, and you come in every 15 to 20 seconds, 15 to 17 seconds really, and you're just supposed to land at a 45-second interval, I think.
Wow. And so when you're in the stack and you're looking down at all the other flights, how do you know? Because do you descend? You descend to the lower stack as you sort of move up to your commence? Is that how that works? So you're orbiting, and there might be 4 flights ahead of you in the stack. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, all the F-14s might be in the bottom stack, And then I think later, when the F-18s joined the air wing, they went lower because were more critical on gas. So you would just wait till all of those aircraft landed. You knew how many took off. You could see how many were in the left-hand turns. And sometimes they're not all together. You know, they could be a flight on opposite sides of the circle. As long as they hit the brake with the right interval, it didn't matter. And usually one squadron came in by themselves, whether it was 2 or 4 airplanes. And then the next squadron would come in with 2 or 4 airplanes. And then you knew the 2,000 foot level was vacated. And so the people at 3,000 feet would start planning it so that they could come down and hit the brake at the right time. If you come down too early, you have to go upwind a long time, and that's not really a good thing, because then you extend the downwind pattern real long. So sometimes you might take another loop around so that the last guy turning to land, you're right there in the brake, and you can replace him at the 180 without slowing up the landings. Because I'm not sure, I think it was every 45 seconds, definitely no longer than a minute, you wanted everyone to land.
Yeah. Wow. So just now we get really into the weeds. This is the main reason the opportunity to ask you these sorts of questions. This is all about just basically the Tomcat and the switchology and configuration. So coming in, so primarily I'll just be asking about things like angle of bank airspeed, angle of attack, wing sweep, and DLC. Those are the things I have main questions on. This is so in the weeds, I know, I'm sorry, sir. So I'm assuming wing sweep is just in auto on the throttle, and that's...
You're in auto almost all the time except for taxiing and air shows. And the brake, if I remember right, we would come in just for pure looks and have our wings back at 68. So you would manually put the wings back as you were approaching the brake. As you're flying around, you're worried about fuel.
Yeah.
So you leave it in auto for max efficiency. But then as you descend down to come into the brake, you put the wings back and get a little tighter, even wing overlap.
Yeah.
You know, as the squadrons compete with each other, who is the most shit-hot formation and brake. So the wings are back for the brake, and then, as you know, the leader goes first. So as he breaks off, the first thing you do is idle, boards, wings to auto.
Ah, right.
So your idle boards, wings to auto, and now as you're coming around, you're decelerating. And the only variation on that is if you come in super fast, you don't want your wings at auto because you can bleed more airspeed if the wings are further back than they should be. So you leave the wings all the way back and then bleed your airspeed down, because when you come in for a shit-hot brake and you're really fast, and some of us came in, you know, well over 600, and you would get to the 180 and you're not even at gear speed yet.
Yeah.
So you got gear and flaps to go, and you would like to have that all handled by the 180. So a lot of times you're around to the 90 and you're just getting the gear down, and as you're rolling out in the groove, the flaps are coming down, the wings are already out, and you set yourself up for a little bit of a scramble on the landing, because normally everybody likes to have that all squared away at the 180.
Yeah.
You want to be all trimmed up at your landing speed, wings are out, flaps are down, speed brakes are out, everything's all set up at the 180, and then you make a 30-degree turn. And usually, if you did everything right on your distance, a 30-degree turn will put you at all the numbers all the way around.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, okay, here's another nerdy question. When you're orbiting the stack, position 1 being just to the right of the aircraft carrier, so as you come around and the ship's moving forward, in DCS, we will sometimes straighten out at
point 1 and just fly in front of the carrier a little bit. Otherwise we find the circle drifts behind the ship. So as you come around, you'll be behind point 1. Is that something that happens in reality? Do you ever find that when you get to point 1, you sort of straighten out and fly straight for a little bit to move the circle? Or is it something you just adjust in the entire circle?
No, when you're in the stack,
yeah,
you go forward with the ship a little bit because
right.
you know the whole 180-degree turn, the ship's moving forward at 30 knots.
Yeah.
Even if it's not moving forward, the wind is 30 knots, so it's the same exact effect.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you level your wings and you fly by and take a look at everything and then make your turn.
Dude, this is, yeah. I know this is stupid, this is incredible information that I never for sure. And then at the commence, as you come around to point 3, are you, we see a lot of different squadrons that fly with us in the simulator, and they all do a different, we try to, we'll commence and we'll be about 10 degrees to the right of the downwind heading, just to make that big final turn to the initial easier. And I was just wondering, is that what you would like, that final turn, what is the most distance you'd get from the carrier, I guess?
From the brake?
No,
when you're talking about rolling into the brake at 800 feet?
Well, no, coming out of the stack and commencing,
yeah,
from point 3, would you be on the downwind heading, or would you be to the right of the downwind heading, like a little bit, to make that big final turn to the initial, to come into the brake wider? I guess I'm just curious.
It all depends on when the deck is green. When the captain has a green deck, they want you to land right away. So it's usually up to the fighter guys. I mean, in a perfect world, green deck, you know, LSOs are out there, safety officers saw everything, pry flies ready to go. And when they say green deck, every second after that, the ship is being predictable and nobody's landing. So ideally, when they say green deck, there would have been someone in the groove all the way down. And the LSOs are saying foul deck, and he's still coming. And they might even be talking to him if he's off glide slope. And they'll yell foul deck so the LSL knows. And then at the end, if they don't get a green deck, they give you the wave off red lights, or they'll say wave it off if they're allowed to talk on the radio. But they'll try to keep it coming to the last second, and hopefully they hear green deck, you keep coming, landing, and everybody's like, yeah, that's perfect. The worst thing is for them to have a green deck and nobody's even at the 180, or maybe they're not at the brake yet.
Yeah.
So that means the guys that were in the stack really screwed it up. Because you have to look down and you have to see how many airplanes. If you see there's 14 airplanes to go, you know, there's no big deal. You know you're gonna take another lap around. But if you see there's only one more aircraft to launch, you know exactly how much time it takes to clean up the catapults, have the arresting gear all ready to go, and you better be in the brake, and you know how long it takes to brake, get to the 180, get all the way around, get in the groove, and land. And that's all time so that right after the deck goes green, you're touching down. And then your buddy, and remember this was over 25 years ago that I did it, probably, what am I talking about? 35 years ago was the last time I trapped, basically. And that was on a almost 700 knot brake with an admiral in my back seat. I'll send you the story about that one. Because we had just done a mission in Somalia with the CIA, and everyone had landed but us. And you're expected to do a shit hot brake if the deck is clear. Because again, now they've all landed and the carrier is stationary. So not stationary, predictable. So submarines and bombers can see what the carrier's doing, and you want to be able to turn off and do something else. So they want you to land real quick. So it's not like you're showboating. They want you to get in as fast as you can and then brake and land as quick as you can. but that's when you're still about 250 knots at the 90, and you got a lot of work to do to be able to land. But your question was what?
I
On that
forgot.
particular thing?
Well, I guess initially I was asking, I guess that at the commence, it sounds like a stupid question now, but are you on the downwind heading or are you offset to the right a tiny bit? I guess it was.
Yeah. No, you're in the stack watching the airplanes, trying to predict when the deck's going to go green.
Yeah.
And it's your job to be as close as you can to green deck to land.
Yeah.
And if the deck goes green and nobody's even in the break yet, somebody's going to get yelled at, and you screwed it up.
And I know you were talking about how I showed you a clip of our Tomcat, and it was the best formation of the day, but you did say it was loose, and you said that you guys are pretty overlapped. And from the NATOPS, in NATOPS, an old version of the F-14 NATOPS, it says that the parade formation reference was the Rio's ejection seat triangle on the leading edge of the intake. And I thought it'd be awesome to ask you, how did you, I guess when you were flying...
We did the same thing, but you can be way out here.
Yeah.
And you can be right here in that perfect parade position according to NATOPS. But also, that same bearing, you can take all the way in to under here.
Yeah.
You just get rid of the other one.
Yeah.
It's triangulation if you look at what your other one is, depending on what distance you want. So usually you just keep that one. I think it was the edge of the intake on the ejection seat triangle.
Yeah.
And move that in, because we always wanted a little wing overlap.
Wow.
When you're coming into the break.
Yeah.
And then because he's above you, so when he brakes, it's not like he's going to hit you.
It still sounds really scary.
And you got to look good.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Were you ever, one of the things that we do a lot...
Well, here, hand me that book, Kay, Cutting Edge. You might want to keep this on film.
I think I know the photo you're going to show.
Yeah. This is the bar scene. I have no idea where it is. But this was the bar scene photo.
Yeah, when you were sitting at the bar next to Charlie, and there's a big picture, the lighted picture.
Yeah, sat next to her for 2 days. In fact, I have a very famous painter painting this picture right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's an Army helo pilot, but he does amazing work. Murray Jones. And so that's 2 airplanes flying in formation. I was in the flight lead. We're in the stack, and we're going around watching the ship to figure out when it's green. And I thought, after 1 lap around, I went, wow, that's an awesome picture. So I went, you got the lead. You don't have to say anything on the radio. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I got the lead. And so I give it to my number 2 guy, and then I go underneath and out here, and I'm taking a picture of this. I wanted to get around so the carrier and the destroyer were showing. And here's, like we talked about earlier, I see the white wake and no white caps.
Yeah.
So I know there's not a lot of natural wind. The carrier's making its own wind. So I know I'm going to have a slight right crosswind because the carrier's making its own wind. And when I roll out, I don't roll out on center line. I might roll out on the notch or something to the right, depending on how big the wake is. But here you can see we're overlapped.
Yeah.
That's not your textbook NATOPS parade formation, and we're not even in close yet. And you can also see we have the wings all the way back.
Yeah.
Even though we're probably not at an airspeed where the auto wings would be all the way back. We're probably 350 there as we accelerate to and descend to get into the brake.
So one of the things we do a lot in the sim when we're flight lead is overshoot the BRC.
Yeah.
so you'll be on someone's wing, and then the lead will suddenly go, oh, I've got to correct it, I've got to go this way. So it's scary if you are close. Sometimes you're like, that never happens in real life.
No, because the leaders understand that. And so when you're flying formation, the wingy knows that the leader will never do an awkward or sudden turn back right.
Yeah.
When you come into the airplane, you go real slow so he can do it.
Right.
And when you go away, you can go a lot faster.
Yeah.
If you're allowed to talk on the radio like the Blue Angels do, then they can anticipate everything with a radio call.
Yeah.
But if you're silent, then you have to be a very smooth flight lead, because you're right. If you turn back into the wingman, that's how mid-airs are caused, actually.
Just give me one. I'm so terrified. This is. I just want to make sure it is recording still. Perfectly fine. Yep. Sorry. Very sorry. That's just.
No sweat.
All right. Okay. So, all right, we got all that way. I guess the. So this page that I've got here is.
Take a picture of the whole setup from back there.
Have you ever
we see Jane, the phone, and the two of us. Here you go.
Has he ever
want
had
that
the
just
deal?
for the
Has he ever
record.
made the mistake of having such a huge nerd?
No, I'm a researcher, and so I'm probably nerdy in a way. I know everything about dogfighting because I researched.
Well, I feel silly talking to you about this stuff when I know you. Like,
No,
you're
I want
involved
to
in-
do this stuff. I want to learn how to do DCS. I mean, if
Don't say
the
that. You're gonna have-
simulators are real,
Yeah.
if they're realistic, what's the difference except you're not up there? I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it sounds like the greatest video game in the world to me.
it's a lot of fun. I never get tired of it. But,
All right, next question.
Well, so we in the Stingers pride ourselves on doing what we call a shit hot break or a blue water break. But normally we're still just coming in at between 350 knots, 400 knots, and we're trying to break before the back of the.
It can't be a shit hot break if you break after the round down. So if you break at the island or you break at the bow, that's not even a shit hot break, no matter how fast you are.
Yeah.
Because what makes it shit hot is everyone knows there's a lot to do in that 360 to landing. And so the earlier you break, the more shit hot it is. And if you break after the round down, it doesn't even count.
Yes.
If you break before the round down, then it's probably stupid. But if you can do it, then you've had the most shit hot break of all. But it's very hard because you run out, you don't have enough time to do everything in order to land. So you break at the round down no matter what speed you are. If it's a shit hot break, you're probably at 450 or better. 350 is so you're 450 to 550, wings all the way back, bam, and you break, lose 200 feet in the turn, get down to 600 feet at the 180, and that's where you're looking for your 250 gear flaps, and get ready for landing.
Yeah. So with the air brake, you'd put the speed brakes out and leave them out for the whole landing?
Absolutely, yep, because you want the higher power setting. The higher the power setting, the easier it is to adjust on the way down. So you almost wish you had a bigger speed brake. So yeah, when you do your brake, the first thing you do is idle, boards, auto on the wings. Unless, like I said earlier, you're super fast, then you cheat by leaving the wings back so you can bleed off more airspeed faster.
Right. And then if you were a dash 2 and say you went about 15 to 18 seconds up, would you still then leave the speed brakes out for the whole downwind leg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yep.
Was it? And then so did you use DLC, or was that something that everybody used, or?
Everybody used DLC.
Yeah.
When it worked, back when I flew, it didn't always work, but it worked most of the time, and it was on your thumb. So there was a little lag in the power. So if you're going a little high and you can go just like, and stop the ball from going higher, it's a lot better to do that.
Yeah.
Or if it's going a little low and you think the power is about right and you don't want to get behind the power curve, so where your RPMs are low and then you have to catch up and then you settle too much, you just add a little DLC to go up.
That's awesome.
And go up and down. So for very small corrections,
so it's not...
Because if you have your power set right, it's really nice. Then you don't have to move it much. And in fact, if you do it really correctly, even though there's 2 throttles, you get to the point where you only need 1. So your wrist goes like this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So it's not like I'm going to move both throttles up 1%. I'm going to just take the right throttle and move it up a little bit. And if the ball's settling a little more, then I might move the left throttle up a little bit. The newer you are, the worse this is, because you don't see things in advance, so you can't make small corrections. So you got guys, what we call beating snakes in the cockpit. They're on the stick and they're going like this, and the rudders are back and forth, and the throttles are full mill, back to idle, full mill as they react to things.
Yeah.
After a while, when you get used to it through the training syllabus and then in your fleet squadron, that all gets narrower and narrower and narrower until you're making very fine corrections. And DLC was important enough that sometimes people would call the ball no DLC, so that the LSOs knew they didn't have DLC.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I never thought that was a big enough deal to tell the LSO, but I guess they wanted to know that you weren't using DLC, you only had throttles, so they'd see a little more smoke on, smoke off, as you use the throttles. Because everyone wants to come around and get an OK3. In fact, you're shooting for an OK3 no comment, or an OK3 underline, of which out of my 1,124 traps, I'm sure I'm single digits in OK underlines out of. And OK no comments probably maybe 30.
Wow, yeah.
So they're pretty unusual. A lot of OK3s. I have a lot of top tail hook patches. So I ended up in the top 10 or even the top tail hook a couple times. But OK3 no comments and OK3 underlines, which are the best 2 passes possible, are very, very rare.
That's awesome. Sorry, just to back up for a second, just from the commence, I forgot to ask, when would you manually sweep the wings aft? Would that be at point 3 and you're straightening out to commence? Or would that be when the wings go back?
You're flying around in the stack with your wings out, and you're probably at 220 knots because you're max conserve.
Yeah.
So you're just flying around waiting for the launch to go and conserving gas, and the throttles are way back. I forget, they might even be 2,200 pounds aside. I forgot what it was to just fly around at max conserve. But you don't want to waste fuel flying around real fast or be pulling G's, in the circle. So you don't accelerate until you realize the timing of the flight deck. So somewhere in here you realize, okay, I need to be there in 20 seconds. And so you calculate that and you either accelerate or turn sooner or whatever, so that you can get down and get into the brake when you're supposed to in order to land for the green deck. So that's all eyeballs. There's no specific time. They might have had problems on the launch, and it could be a minute or 2 late. So it's all about when the launch is over and the deck is green.
So in the F-14, I guess the one that we have that doesn't have, did you ever fly with the newer HUD? Is it the Sparrowhawk HUD?
Right. No, I was in the A, and we never had a HUD that helped us with
Yeah.
landing. It just
So
there was no help at all with the HUD on landing, like the F-18, where they put the bug on the 3-wire.
yeah,
So when we came around, one of the things you look for, and especially at night on a GCA straight-in approach, is the VSI. So if your VSI was stable at 700 feet a minute, that was a huge indicator, because you could look down, or you could look out and you go, angle of attack is good. Well, meatball, the yellow meatball is right on the green. So that looks great, angle of attack and lineup, and everything's great. But if you use the VSI and you see that was 800 instead of 700, you knew before the ball ever went low that your airplane was going to go low. So that's when you go like that and get that VSI back up to 700. It would be a little less if the wind was different, but depending on the wind, roughly 700 feet a minute is what you're actually crashing into the deck at.
yeah.
So when you roll in the groove, you're 700. When your wheels touch down, 700 feet a minute. And with a little variation depending on the wind. So yeah, I would definitely have the meatball lineup angle of attack, but I always kept the VSI in my scan because that would give me a little bit of a heads up on when I could add power, take power off, or DLC.
Yeah.
Or if I really screwed it up, both.
Yeah.
I might do both at the same time.
You'd be horrified to see how much DLC we use in our little online squadron. It's like every landing.
Yeah, no, we get used to it, and yeah, like I said, sometimes you come down and it's like tick, 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 and then a couple ups, and a lot of times people could see the burble, or they knew where the burble was, and a whole lot of people turned an OK3 pass into a fair or even a no grade. You know about those, right?
Yeah.
How they're graded. So those are bad.
Yeah.
And but they had an OK3 all the way, and they turned it into a fair or a no grade because they didn't counteract the burble. And the burble is that wind coming off the flight deck, and it makes you sink right as you're crossing the ramp, just before you get to the ramp.
Yeah.
So if you don't counteract that with a little up DLC or a little bit of power as you anticipated, and then ironically you have to take it off right after it because you get through it. But in order to have almost perfect pass, if you anticipate that just right, your airplane never notices the burble. You added enough DLC and enough power to get through it. Otherwise it takes you down a little bit, and then people see the ball going low, and then they overreact, they add power, then they see the ball going up, then they push the nose over, and to the LSO, that's a whole lot of maneuvering, and it looks bad on the plat, it looks bad to the LSO, and you just change your OK3 to a no grade.
Sounds like a lot of my landings. This is going to sound like a stupid question, but in the F-18, in the sim, I found, because when you're learning this carrier stuff as a flight sim pilot, the whole concept of just keeping a relatively stable pitch and then controlling angle of attack and with thrust. And I remember when I was starting to let people would say, oh, you use the nose attitude to control your airspeed and you use the throttles to control your angle of attack and your height on glide slope. But what I tend to do now as a cheat, in the F-18, the waterline mark, the little W on the HUD, I'll lock that on 5 because I figure in my head that's 5 pitch, and then I got a 3-degree glide slope, so it's 8 degrees angle of attack, which is all good to go. So what I was curious about, how did you do that in the F-14?
It wasn't like the F-18 at all for us in the F-4 Phantom or the F-14A. So what I would do, what helped me, I'm not sure everyone did this, is I carried a higher angle of attack than on and on. I think 15 was our angle of attack to land an F-14. So as I was rolling into the groove, I would like 17 because that got you slower on airspeed, right?
Yeah.
Because when you roll out, depending on your weight, let's say I'm supposed to be 140 knots, right?
Yeah.
So if I come around and I'm in a turn at 15 units angle of attack, that's not the same as if I'm wings level, 15 units angle of attack.
Yeah.
That extra G and the angle of bank that is required to hold it up, you need more airspeed.
Yeah.
So consequently, my airspeed might be at 15 units here, might be 7-8 knots faster than it would be when I roll out.
Yeah.
So in order not to have to, because I already got the brakes out, right? So in order that I don't have to roll out, go way back on the throttle till my airspeed gets right, my angle of attack is normal, then add a throttle. What I did was I carried a little more angle of attack and a little less airspeed so that when I rolled out, I was on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I knew I had a good pass is when I rolled out, my VSI was 700, my throttles were set and I didn't have to move them.
Yeah.
It's like, bam. And all I did is go make sure I held the center line, kept the ball in the center and my airplane on the center line. And then tried not to spot the deck because it's so easy to look out when you're in close, like right after you get by the burble,
Yeah.
you see the deck and your body wants to go like this because you are 40, 50 feet in front of the hook. So you feel like you're beyond the 3-wire, beyond the 4-wire, and if you spot the deck, you want to pull the throttles back and then you'll land and now you have a taxi 1-wire and a terrible grade for your landing, all because you spotted the deck. So you got to roll and keep everything the same all the way down, keep watching the ball all the way to touchdown, and keep the power up all the way to touchdown.
Would it surprise you to know that that's what everyone in the flight sim community, we don't do it anymore, but that's what everyone does when they're learning. As soon as you can see the back of the ship passing beneath you, it's just power off, nose over.
That happens with real airplanes.
Yeah.
I think I did that my whole first cruise in F4s. It drove me crazy. I would always land on a wire earlier than I wanted to, the 1 or the 2, and it drove me nuts the first cruise. And I finally realized, even though I thought I was watching the ball all the way down, when I got over steel, it's like water, steel, I felt like I was gonna bolt her, and I would spot the deck and pull the power back and settle.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't wanna do that.
So yeah, after trapped, aircraft's come to a stop, flight director guy.
Yeah,
Yellow
the flight
shirt.
director, yellow shirt. You look for him right here at your 1 o'clock. You're actually like this. You're full power. You're hanging in the straps. The straps are just holding you back like this. If the straps don't work, we've had people literally break their visors on the
Oh, no jokes.
cockpit.
When would you
On
get
the
full
radar.
power, actually? Sorry, I forgot to ask. Is it
Touchdown.
as soon as you feel
As soon as you feel touchdown, full power.
yeah.
So
and
when
it's-
your wheels hit full power, you feel the hook grab the wire. You know you got it, but we've had them spit.
Yeah.
So you can't, and it's in the rules, and you'll get a, what's the worst pass? It's a cut.
Yeah.
Nice red block on your landing grade board. You get a cut pass because you cut the power too soon. It's also the same name for a bad pass, even if you didn't cut the power. Say you barely got over the ramp and taxied into the 1-wire, they'll give you a cut pass as a grade. So anyway, your wheels hit, you go full power, you feel the tug, so you know you're gonna, and then you decelerate really fast. If your harness inertial lock didn't work, bam, you'll crunch your helmet on the equipment. But usually it works, and you go about this far forward, and it really digs in right here, and you just, and then it finally stops. The airplane sometimes even goes back a little as the wire retracts just a little bit, and they give you the signal to raise your hook.
Yeah.
They don't want you to do it too soon because there's certain emergencies that require you to stay in the hook, stay connected to the wire. So you look at him, he gives you the hook up, you throw the hook up, get the wings back right away because you know you're going to turn, and those wings are, I think, wider than the airplane is long, and you need to be as small as you can to taxi around the flight deck. So you get the wings back, speed brakes up. Speed brakes were already in when you went to mill power on the landing to get ready for a bolter, and engage nose gear steering and follow the taxi director.
And the wing sweep on that, is that cover up, handle, manual handle, emergency handle up?
Yeah, eventually after you get the wings all the way back,
Oh, so is
because
with
it
the
takes the
switch?
same amount of time,
Oh, okay.
you do that with your manual switch.
Ah.
They go all the way back, and then you can reach down and put them in the oversweep.
Yeah, yeah.
So you go back to 68, like when you're flying and trying to look good,
Yeah.
or when you're supersonic and auto. That's how far back they are, and that's small, but not small as that it can be. So yeah, you lift it up like Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah, yeah.
which was crazy because number one, he didn't get enough runway. He turned early.
Yeah, yeah.
Number two, all they had to do is hit auto and the wings come out. I don't know why he had to do the emergency wing out.
Yeah.
And number three, if you have a short runway and you have to clear an obstacle, put the flaps down. Because he added an extra 1,500 feet to his takeoff roll, which is why he smashed the nose gear off. So they did a lot of things beautifully and correct, like the startup of the F-14 in that movie. They did that perfectly. That's the way every cross country, the Rio does, and the pilot on an F-14. They did that all right. But that takeoff was all wrong.
I was stressed. I was stressed out watching that. Did you?
I was too.
'Cause-
I'm like, ah! yeah. He screwed that up.
Yeah. When you were watching that, I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm just a nerd that builds models and plays flight sims. But when you saw that, when you first saw them going to the Tomcat in the movie, was it pretty? For me, it was amazing. I think Jane was sitting next to me. I made her see it twice.
Yeah. It was amazing to me, and Kay knows the story because she was sitting right here, and there was a Navy yeoman right here, and we're in an IMAX, and some of the actors are there because the Secretary of the Navy is putting on the show.
Yeah.
So we get to talk to them, and the audience is full of Navy people. And when I saw the Su-57, I mean, and when everyone saw the F-14, they cheered.
Yeah.
The whole audience cheered. There's a lot of F-14 fans, and of course I was like, yeah. But when I saw the Su-57s, I was amazed because that's exactly how they look.
Yeah.
And I was really getting excited. So at the one point in the movie where his backseater, Rooster, no, who's his backseater?
Yeah, Rooster. Yeah, Goose's son.
No. I guess
No, you're
Rooster
right.
was
Yeah,
a back.
yeah.
He was in the backseat of Maverick's airplane, and he goes, "What the heck was that?" Because he made that falling leaf kind of turn that some of the Soviet aircraft can make with their variable engines and the flight controls that they have. So as that guy's doing this turn like this, right in front of Maverick, remember? And they fly by and they go, what the heck was that? What I was doing, without even thinking about it, I'm in my seat and I'm already psyched up and I'm already forward. So in a split second, I stomped on the left rudder. I went idle boards with my left hand like this. I turned the airplane like that. I switched to guns and I pulled the trigger. All within a half a second as that airplane was just coming like that. Because if that was me, I would have snapshot him right there. You know, as you're going by.
Yeah.
And they just went, wow, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
And I had to apologize to this female yeoman, petty officer, and I thought I would explain it all by saying, I'm a fighter pilot, don't worry. I thought that would explain everything, that I got too carried away. But yeah, that's how realistic the movie was to me as a pilot.
Yeah.
I did all of that.
Yeah.
Idle boards, guns, squeezed the trigger, stomped on the rudder, turned to put the plane. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for talking to me. There's days in my life that I'll remember forever, and they're just so incredible to me that I can't even believe.
I'm happy to do it for you. You're a legend in your own community, so you're going to be helping me out when I get my DCS set up.
Like I said, you'll have 1,000 people trying to do that. But yeah, definitely, as much as you want, I'll live on that thing.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you very much for talking to me. Like I said, I still feel like I'm going to pinch myself because I can't believe I'm here. But thank you very much, Heater.
Thank you.